Hi everyone, this is Cathy Rich, coming to you live from Las Vegas. And I wanted to speak a little bit about Channel 1. As you all know, this was one of Buddy's signature pieces, one of his main closing numbers. He actually got this piece in 1968 or 69 and recorded it live at Caesar's Palace in Las Vegas for the first time. And I recall when he actually received the charts written by Bill Reddy and brought to him and conducted the first time by Bill Reddy. Joe LaBarbera, who at the time was a dear friend and excellent drummer, he had Joe go up and sit through the chart, read the music, read through it, and Buddy sat in the audience and listened to it once, and then threw Joe off the drums, got up there and played it through like he'd been playing it for 20 years. Now you have the opportunity to see and hear this amazing piece of music. When this was filmed in 1985, Buddy at the time was 67 years old, and in his true fashion, never let anybody down and had been rehearsing all day, traveled to get there, rehearsed with the band during the day, went through sound checks, more rehearsals, and then finally the performance. And as you can see, Buddy never gave less than 1,000,000% when he played. And this was especially important to him because he really wanted this to be a fantastic evening and an amazing production, which it is. We're so lucky that we've been able to sort of resurrect this performance and bring it to you now. As you can see, after the performance, he was completely wasted, tired beyond belief, and ready to pass out and go back to the hotel. It's amazing to think that just 2 years prior to this performance, my father had undergone quadruple bypass surgery. And I don't know that many of you know the details of that surgery, but in order for him to be able to continue on, they had to remove veins from both legs, which normally you just do it with one leg, but they couldn't find a good vein. And so he had both legs cut from ankle to thigh. He had incisions, obviously, down his chest, and was told at that time that he probably should consider another career, that, it wasn't really a smart idea to continue on playing drums. And, of course, he doesn't pay attention to things like that, and 6 weeks after he had his surgery, he was opening at Ronnie Scott's Club in London. Actually, I was supposed to go on that trip, and I told him flat out, there's no way I'm going to go over there and watch you die. No way. You're out of your mind, and you're on your own for this one. And he did, and he never looked back. And this performance is, a testament to a man who just never let the odds beat him. Let me first thank Mr. Johnny Carson for allowing us to use this incredible footage. This doesn't happen without Johnny saying yes.
Would you welcome Mr. Humble, Buddy Rich?
We just want to thank him for being such a dear friend to our family, and I'm sure everybody knows that, Buddy and Johnny had a mutual admiration society going on with each other. They just loved each other.
Listen to me, Sam.
I'm listening.
I'm having enough trouble out here tonight.
With him tonight?
I was looking for one sane person out here tonight.
Do you mind if I smoke?
I have, yes, I do.
Good.
So I'm trying to quit.
Me too. Me too.
What I'm saying is,
Yes.
I've heard you when the band sits
What's the
down.
matter with
and
your
they-
arm?
What?
What's the matter with your arm?
What?
What's the matter with your ear?
Nothing. It's my leg that bothers me.
Your leg. What's the matter with him tonight, Doc?
Look, when it goes like this...
But I do have a funny story. My father had spinal surgery. He's like the poster boy for surgery at this point. But it was like 1973, I believe. He was in Philadelphia. He had just undergone disc surgery. And completely surprising, one night he's in the hospital bed, and in the room walks Johnny Carson and Ed McMahon, who had flown in from California, and they proceeded to do the entire routine of Karnak, complete with turban and Funkin' Wagnall's porch, the whole deal, except that the material was completely X-rated. My father's lying in the bed, gripping his spine where he's not supposed to laugh, and just howling and begging for someone to make them stop. And this is the kind of friendship that they had, is that Johnny would fly across the country to come in and do a special edition of Karnak because he knew that was Buddy's favorite bit. Johnny was and continues to be a great friend of my family. Buddy pretty much had carte blanche to be on that show whenever he wanted, and it usually worked out to be just about every 3 months or 4 times a year. And it was just a thrill for both Johnny and Buddy every time, they appeared together, because they had such a wonderful rapport and a great relationship, and you could just see how deeply they cared for each other every time Buddy was on that show. Aside from just being, show business friends, they were off-screen friends as well. They hung out together, they went to dinners together, Johnny came to Buddy's birthday parties, and it was just a real friendship. And I don't think that many people know that their relationship went that deep. But Johnny loved Buddy, and Buddy loved him the same way, and it was just a real, true friendship. I think most people probably know this, but maybe some people don't, but Johnny was, and I think still is, an amateur drummer, and I think on a level respected, the fact that Buddy was so incredibly talented. And I think at one point my dad had an actual replica of the set that he played given to Johnny, and one night when we were all out to dinner and ended up at Johnny's house, there was the drum set sitting right in the living room, just beautifully displayed, and I believe it still remains there to this day.
Did you used to room with Sinatra for a while?
Yeah,
Somebody said I didn't know that.
I roomed with Frank the first year that he was on the band.
With Dorsey?
1940, yeah.
How'd you get along?
Very bad. Very bad.
Was it a clash?
Well, no, I knew I was the star of the band, and he kept saying, I'm the star of the band, and it got to be that way.
Didn't Dorsey feel he was the star of the band?
We didn't even let him know that it was his band.
Tommy didn't know, huh? And of course, Marie.
That's it. That's it.
I have a funny story to tell about when Buddy was recuperating from his bypass surgery at our home in Rancho Mirage. And it was a unusually rainy evening. My father was in the bedroom recuperating, and there was a knock at the door, and there stands Frank Sinatra with a pot in his hand and a loaf of bread under his arms. I looked at him. It was such a surreal moment. I was like, "What are you doing here?" And he said, "Where's the kitchen, baby?" And in we walk. I show him where the kitchen is, and he said, "Is Buddy allowed to have garlic?" And I said, "Absolutely." So he said, "All right." And he throws on a pot of pasta. He said, "I just had this bread flown in from Jersey." And he proceeded to make my father his first big Italian meal from the surgery. And they went in and they sat on the bed for the next 2 or 3 hours and reminisced. Frank was just an amazing person who really was there for my father when he was recovering. Every time he needed to go to LA to be checked on his surgery, Frank was there with the plane. Took him every day walking around the complex for a mile. He had to walk a mile every day. And, most people didn't know that side of either one of them. He was a wonderful man. You're looking at an interesting photograph of my father, Joey, and Steve Marcus on one of their UFO excursions to the Grand Canyon. I know that a lot of you know that Buddy was an avid believer in UFOs and had witnessed sightings and was very much involved in the whole UFO phenomenon. Actually, one of his dear friends was Professor Alan Hynek, who headed up the UFO division at Northwestern University and was also, I believe he was the technical advisor on Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Buddy had many experiences with UFOs and through the years had interesting sightings, visits, if you will, from people who claimed to be from other planets. He took it very seriously and didn't really enjoy it when people made fun of it, because to him it was a very serious endeavor. And he read up on it. He knew everything there was to know about the UFO phenomenon. And speaking of UFOs,
all right, boys, take 5, huh?
We have some very funny footage of Buddy appearing in a Jerry Lewis movie called Visit to a Small Planet. Jerry plays an alien, and Buddy plays himself.
Hey, man, we've been watching you from the bandstand.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you look out enough to make it. Would you dig whaling with the group?
Oh, well, thank you, but I'm not a musician. Although I think I would like to play those.
The Skins?
Skins?
The bongos, man.
Oh, yeah, the bongos, yeah.
Well, crazy. Let's make it. Like now, let's split.
Well, if it's all the same to you, I think I'd like to play them from here.
You want to play those from there?
Yeah.
The last time that my father ever played anything was at a dinner party. My father's playing on a wooden cutting board. The sticks he's using are wooden spoons. The interesting tie-in to all this that I thought of much later on is the first time my father ever played anything, he was playing with spoons. So he began playing spoons, and he ended playing spoons. How fitting it goes full circle.